The Denver Broncos have just received some exciting news about a free agent who might be joining the team. We also have insights into a position they likely won't be targeting in the upcoming NFL draft, and much more to discuss. If you're new here, I'm a die-hard Broncos fan, and it would really help the channel if you like and subscribe. Now, once the season ended, most of us had the tight end position at the top of our list for upgrades. We were all hoping for one of the top prospects to fall to us at pick 20. Names like Tyler Warren and Luke Musgrave were on our radar. But out of nowhere, the Broncos managed to land not only one of the most talented linebackers in the NFL when he's healthy, Dre Greenlaw, but also the best free agent tight end on the market, Evan Engram. With these moves, many of us have come to terms with the idea that the Broncos may no longer need to draft a tight end, even if players like Warren or Musgrave are still available. Sarah Bettinger wrote a fantastic article over at Predominantly Orange, which you should definitely check out, in addition to listening to him on Locked On Broncos. He shares some valuable insight, citing Mike Klis, who often has reliable information, though he can sometimes be a bit optimistic. Let's break down his quote. Klis mentioned, "It doesn't make sense for the Broncos to target a tight end, even if Luke Musgrave is still on the board at 20. For one, he's dealing with a shoulder injury and won't be ready until right before training camp. We've seen the challenges with rookies like Greg Dulcich trying to catch up. Tight end is one of the hardest positions for a rookie to pick up. They need to learn the offensive line run blocking schemes and master wide receiver routes. It's a steep learning curve. Sure, guys like Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta have proven it's possible to excel as rookies, but for the most part, it's tough for tight ends to hit the ground running. We're in a Super Bowl window now, so you can't afford to wait for a rookie to develop. So for the Broncos, tight end at pick 20 is off the table. Maybe they'll grab one in the third round at pick 85. It seems like the Broncos won't be using their first round pick on a tight end. Some people are wondering, is this coming from Sean Payton? Well, Payton is always playing chess while the rest of us are playing checkers. He's one step ahead, probably playing Call of Duty while the rest of us are stuck on Duck Hunt on our Super Nintendo. So maybe he's got Mike Klis in his corner, feeding information, and the Broncos might still be eyeing someone like Colston Loveland. After all, our division rivals were interested in Evan Engram, but now they're trying to hype up their new tight end Conklin. Let's not forget Jim Harbaugh, who recruited Colston Loveland to Michigan and used him to win a national championship. Harbaugh absolutely loves this guy. The Broncos even hosted him for a top 30 visit, so there's a strong connection there. If Loveland is still available at pick 20 and the Broncos don't take him, there's a very real chance he could end up with the Los Angeles Chargers. That would mean facing him twice a year. What do you think? If Colston Loveland is on the board and we pass on him, are we just rolling with Evan Engram? While Engram is certainly a game changer, I think Loveland could offer even more in the long term. Imagine getting 10 solid years of tight end play from him. There are a lot of plugged-in NFL sources who think Loveland could be even better than Tyler Warren. He has some incredible moves, and while he reminds me of Evan Engram in terms of play style, he also brings that grit. He's been involved in multiple bench-clearing fights. He's not your typical tight end, though. He's tall and skinny, and while he might not be a dominant blocker, we've seen success with similar tight ends like Julius Thomas in that same role. So what do you think? Is it a good move to pass on Colston Loveland in the first round? And if the Broncos do, I think we can all agree it points to them targeting a wide receiver or running back with that pick. So, why is everyone suddenly down on Audric Estimé? I think we all lost our minds when we first saw pictures of him. He looked like the Incredible Hulk. And while he averaged 4.1 yards per carry this past season, I think if he were the primary back, we would have been thrilled with that. He did have some struggles with fumbles early on, both in training camp and during the season, but when Estimé was on, he was the guy. What I don't quite understand is why everyone is so quick to write him off now. Yes, he was a scratch in the final game against Buffalo, but when we beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, I'll never forget watching him run between the tackles and thinking, we haven't had this kind of back in Denver for a while. So, are we sure we're all the way out on Estimé? I mean, why couldn't he make a big jump going into year 2? Now that we have Evan Engram, and with Bo Nix getting more confident going into the next season, I think teams will have a harder time playing us the way they did last year. The middle of the field is going to be wide open this year. With that, I'm actually excited about what Audric Estimé can bring to this team. Plus, you don't have to juggle the Javonte Williams reps as much. So, in a way, you've got your power guy in Esteem and your speedster in Jalil. I love the balance that brings. The Broncos are also really high on Tyler Bidet, so I'm not 100% convinced that the team feels they don't have a solid running back room. But I'm curious, how much confidence do you have in Audric Estimé? Does the fact that he didn't suit up for the last game against Buffalo make you less optimistic about him? Let me know in the comments. For me, I'm not out on him. I never saw him go down on the first hit. He was decisive, hitting the hole straight up the middle, and you could tell defenders didn't really enjoy hitting him. He's a thumper, and I think he's got a lot more to offer. I think Audric Estimé is going to have a resurgence next year. It's an intriguing position for the Broncos, and I came across a great article on Mile High Huddle that mentioned the Broncos hosting one of their top 30 visits with DJ Giddens. Now, I didn't watch a ton of college football aside from the Colorado Buffaloes, but I did catch him when they faced off against Colorado. This guy has some real nastiness to him, and I can see why there's excitement surrounding him. There are even rumors that Giddens could be available in the early third or fourth round of the draft. The reality is there are so many talented running backs in this draft that I'm confident the Broncos will walk away with one, but it doesn't have to be at pick 20. If the Broncos come across an intriguing defensive player that they're sure can make an immediate impact, and if they feel comfortable with Evan Engram at tight end for the future, then I think they'll opt to strengthen the defense. With our running back room already looking promising, thanks to Esteem's potential, I think we'll be just fine. Teams won't be able to play us the same way as they did last season, so we'll be in a stronger position overall. That's why I could see the Broncos taking the best defensive player available and maintaining a strength-based approach to their roster, much like the Philadelphia Eagles have done. You can always find a scat back like DJ Giddens in the second or third round, or even third or fourth round, and I can't wait to see how all of this plays out. We're definitely going to be doing a live stream during the draft, so you won't want to miss a single second of it. Now, here's an intriguing piece of news we talked about yesterday. CBS predicted that the Broncos might still have a free agent move to make, and that move could be bringing Amari Cooper to Denver. When I rank the wide receivers I'd like to see in Denver, Cooper is the one I'm most excited about. Of the remaining options, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, and Stephon Diggs, Cooper stands out as a perfect fit. He's different enough from guys like Devin Bell and Cortland Sutton, and he'd bring something special to the offense. Imagine him running slants and creating mismatches. I think Amari Cooper would bring a completely different skill set to the Broncos, something they haven't had in a while. I was reading through some Buffalo Twitter accounts, and I found it interesting that Cooper missed several games leading into the playoffs for personal reasons. The details about why he missed those games, whether it was due to mental health or family matters, never came out, so that's something to keep an eye on. It could add an interesting wrinkle to the situation. But with CBS predicting that Amari Cooper could end up in Denver, that's a move that could be incredibly exciting. Imagine adding him to this roster. So, let me know in the comments, do you think the Broncos are definitely not drafting a tight end in the first round? How out are you on that idea? And how excited would you be if we ended up landing Amari Cooper in orange and blue? There's so much to be excited about. I'm calling it now. The Broncos are winning the AFC West this year. You heard it here first. Believe it, because we have a lot to look forward to.